This is Kinsey. I am doing my first video for YouTube. I am actually doing this video for Kim Yu. So Kim Yu, this is for you. You told me you wanted to see my tank get completed. Well, it is complete as of yesterday. And I went from a 10-gallon to a 20-gallon. That's about as good as I need to start with right now. I have 3 hermit crabs, which is Samson, he's our largest, then George is a medium size, and then Little Bit, who's not much bigger than a quarter, and she's a blue Ecuadorian, and George and Samson are purple pinchers. Here, as you can see, I have done my substrate, which is sand and Echo Earth. What I've done is I have bought play sand at Lowe's. No offense to Home Depot, but my husband works at Lowe's, so it's obvious where I was going to get the sand. Get the all-purpose sand, and then you bring it home into a 5-gallon bucket, and you rinse it until all the debris comes out of it, and then you get as much water as you can out of it with a strainer, which I use all these products only for my hermit crab, by the way. And then I put it into a pan, and then I bake it at 350 for 2 hours. And during that time, I will continue to turn it while it's in the oven, because you don't want to just bake it like that. It needs to be turned, the sand inside the oven. And when it's done, you have to let it cool completely. And then you do the 5-to-1 ratio, which is 5 cups of sand to 1 cup of Echo Earth. And that is the substrate. And then over here, you'll see that I have the freshwater hairs in the front. Then I have my humidity and my temperature gauge, which I am very surprised to see. Normally, Samson, our largest, battles with the temperature gauge daily and usually buries it. I don't know why he does that. I don't know if he sees his reflection or he doesn't like the red. I'm not quite sure, but he usually doesn't bother the humidity gauge. It's usually just the temperature gauge. Here in the front, I have a large selection of shells that I have got off of eBay and Etsy. Here at the top, what I have done, this large piece here that you're looking at, it's 3 pieces of cork that I have zip tied together. I got the idea off of another lady that's on YouTube. Her thing is 101 gallon hermit crab tank. It's the most amazing thing anyone will ever see. So if you have a hermit crab tank, go look at her channel and make sure that you get ideas, because I sure did, and I hope she doesn't mind, because her ideas were great. What I have here is 2 large pieces of cork and 1 medium piece of cork that I've zip tied, and the zip ties are all underneath so that they don't have anything that will be poking them when you cut the zip ties. Here at the top that I have cut open is a moss pit, and I put in beaked moss. Yesterday they were absolutely loving it and burrowing in it and just loving it to death. And over here it was open, but cork is smooth on the inside, so you want to have something that they can kind of climb onto, because it's really hard for them to attach themselves to it. So it's kind of open on the inside that goes all the way down. And then we have netting that goes over here to a shelf that was actually for a lizard tank that I got at my local pet store, that if I had known about the magnetic shelving, I would have got it, but by now that stuff is like Fort Knox to get off, and if I can one day figure out how to get it off my tank, I will get it off and I'll put in one of those magnetic shells. But so far they're liking it, at least even though it's smooth with the netting on it, they can still climb on it. So then this large piece is connected to this piece underneath. You can kind of see a piece of the zip tie there. Anyway, a Little Bit usually likes to climb in right there. And trying to get it where it doesn't have a reflection. Usually you can see somebody in there. I don't see anybody in there right now, but they climb right in there. I cut it so it would fit well. And this is just another piece that I kind of did so they could have something to climb on. They couldn't get in it because it was small. I didn't understand the really look at what cork is if you're going to order it online, because it's a difference and not every piece is the same. On the back side of my large piece, I cut out an opening. I didn't make it really smooth. I wanted it kind of choppy. And so anyway, normally they love to climb in there. And if you look back there in that little hole, back there to the very top right, I think that's where Little Bit is. That's where she was digging yesterday. Over here in the corner, right there, is a piece of cholla wood. Usually Samson attacks that and tries to bury it too. He's our attacker of everything. Thank goodness he doesn't attack Little Bit and George. I have a plant, and it was so large that it just kind of goes across the tank, which is great. Come over here. It's in the front. I wish you could see without the reflection. Of course, now you get the reflection of my fish tank. But they can climb in up under there too. There's the water bottle I used to spray. Down here in the front, we have on the left is their salt water, on the right is their fresh water, and their food in the middle. I never buy the food that comes at the pet store. That stuff is usually full of chemicals and not something you'd want to feed them. I usually get it off the Hermit crab patch, or I have found some places on Etsy too, but they absolutely love the food from the Hermit crab patch. They seem to know what they're doing over on there, so check out that website. Right here I have a bamboo plant that's hanging. And you go down there in the back and you can kind of see there's a piece of cork that sticks off one of the other pieces, and they love to climb on it, and they were really enjoying it yesterday. Let me tell you that going from a 10 to a 20, they thought they were in heaven for sure. They were loving it. And so there's the bamboo plant, and you can see the back side of the netting, which I've really attached with those 3M products. I use some more of the 3M right here to hang my coconut wall. You can get that at PetSmart. It's called by Living Things, I think is what it's called. Hopefully I have put up enough of those 3M things. I know it seems excessive, but I have Samson. So the last tank I was in, Samson tore it down 3 times, and finally I just left it hung over because he liked to climb it on as a bridge, and he liked to use it to climb underneath it. I just got tired of fighting him, so we'll see how long this lasts. If he starts doing that again, it may not be in the tank much longer. I got tired of it. So here's the back side. You'll see my my hanger for my light bulb, and which is on a timer, and then I have radiant heat. I'll go around the other side to let you see it. But there's my heater, which you always only put on the side. You would never put it underneath, even though it says put it underneath. You would never do that. And there's the hole, which you can see much better because there's the cholla. I'll go around and let you see this light bulb. Let me tell you, it cost $1 million. It was actually $30, but it was worth it. So I don't mean to blind you, but it is called Radiant Heat. And anyway, it stays on 24 hours a day. And the other side is the light bulb, which is on a timer, which turns itself off. And then right here, I have cellophane wrapped around it. Make sure that underneath that it doesn't poke through and they can actually climb in. They can actually suffocate. But you do this and you put a towel on it, and it helps with humidity a lot. Well, Kim Yu, I hope it was worth the wait. I didn't know how I was going to put it together, but I finally figured it out yesterday. But I thought of you last night, and I said, if I don't post this, she'll be upset with me. So anyway, make sure to pay attention to my videos, because I figured if I'm posting a video of this, I might as well let you see my fire-bellied newt tank, and I'll be posting that later on today. So thanks. Have a good day.